Joined once again by Brian Camozzi, who's going to be taking on Geoff Neil at UFC Fight Night 126 on February 18th. Brian, what's going on? How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well, man. Doing well. Just training and all kinds of fun stuff.
Yeah, I bet you're doing well because you're actually in Vegas right now. Normally, you and I complain about the weather, you being from Colorado and me in Toronto, but I imagine you're out in Vegas just because your coaches are there for the Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah. So, pretty much all of my coaches are on Team Stipe and out here, so worked out kind of perfect. I just booked a trip to Vegas to spend my last hard week and get some work in. Was able to get off of work, and so I can just focus on training. So worked out pretty well.
That's great. I imagine you've had a chance to use the Performance Institute and all that?
Yeah.
That's
it's awesome, man.
Yeah, was it your first time using it, or had you used it before?
I've never used it. I've been there a couple times, but mainly just popping in. I've never had a chance to actually use it. Last night was the first time I actually worked out there, and it's pretty cool. It's nice.
That's awesome. Did you run into any fighters there? It's kind of like a university. Like you just go there and work out and hang out, and I'm sure you just see other fighters like, oh yeah, I know that guy or that fighter.
Right. Yeah, we went there for lunch yesterday, and yeah, just people all over. Yeah, it's definitely weird. I was curious. I was asking my brother and James Krause. I'm like, is anyone actually there? And sure enough, go there, and there's tons of fighters there.
Yeah, that's crazy. Now, it's been a while since we've seen you in the cage. You haven't fought since July. What's sort of been the reason for the layoff?
I just took a little bit of time off. I prefer it that way. I mean, I've got a regular job and everything, so some downtime to focus on other stuff is always needed for me.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, what do you do for work?
I work for State Farm. I sell insurance.
Nice. Okay, that's good. And they're pretty good about giving you time off and training and everything like that, I imagine?
Yeah, my boss is great. He was a college wrestler and actually used to train with my brother and I years and years ago. So he gets it. He understands it. He's super flexible with me. Obviously, he gave me the week off to come out here and train, knowing full well I'm going to take another week off to go to my fight. And so, thank God for that. It makes it a lot easier to do what I have to do.
And I know another big thing that's happened in your life outside the octagon is you got engaged. I talked to your fiance, Brittany, who had her fight a couple weeks back. Were you more nervous doing the proposal or stepping in the octagon? Where were the nerves? What was higher?
Probably the proposal, man, which is weird. We've been together for 10 years, so you think it'd be pretty cut and dry. But, I got pretty nervous for that. Honestly, it was probably worse asking her parents. I was probably more nervous for that than anything, but,
That's good. And I heard you did it at the same restaurant you guys in Vegas that you went to, I think, years before, she was saying, or something like that?
Yeah, so we went on a vacation to Vegas like 5 years ago or something. Found this restaurant. We really like it at the top of one of the hotels. And, had a good time there. And then I fought in Vegas. And then the next week we went back out for her brother's birthday. Took her to that same restaurant and did it there.
Good stuff, man. Now, let's talk about, the UFC. I know things haven't really gone your way in the octagon so far, but what have you sort of taken away from those performances, just the two fights that you've had?
I think I played it a little too safe in both of them. Especially the Laprise fight, I look at it, and, we played a bit of a chess match, but I probably could have pushed it a little bit more, and, he played it better than I did and caught me good. So, that's one thing to take away. I focused a lot in this camp on just kind of putting everything together as a whole. I'm pretty sure I've said that in interviews with you before and didn't do it. But, trying to put more focus on it.
Okay, fair enough. And how important, you talked about the layoff. How important is it, when you do get knocked out or, when you do take some damage in fights to take that time in between matchups just because of the fact, you need time to heal?
Yeah, I wasn't too bad from the last one. He put me down with the liver shot, so brain didn't get rattled or anything. So, health-wise, I was fine. The normal bumps and bruises. But honestly, man, for me, I just like time to just kind of chill, relax, and not think about fighting. Some guys like to fight constantly. Brittany likes to fight all the time if she can. I like time off, man.
Yeah, no, for sure. You got a good balance there, between your work and everything else. So that's great. Now you're taking on Geoff Neil. People will probably remember him from the Contender Series. How do you feel like you match up against him in this fight?
I like the fight, man. I'm excited for it. He's a good boxer, lefty, which I actually like. I got a lot of left-handed training partners, so that works fine. Looks like he's a strong guy, but, I think it should be a fun fight. I'm pretty excited for it.
Were you surprised at all they didn't match you up with Alan Jouban? Because Jouban's fighting a week later against Ben Saunders, and, you're fighting Geoff Neil, and you guys were supposed to fight initially on that July card last year.
No, not really surprised. I was surprised they offered me the Jouban fight in the first place, I wasn't surprised I didn't get that. Honestly, I was more surprised I didn't get cut.
Okay,
so
fair enough.
Any fight, I'm like, okay, perfect.
Yeah, good stuff. Let's talk about training camp. You're in Vegas now, obviously training with your camp at Factory X, but back home in Colorado, who have been some of your main training partners helping you get ready?
Worked a lot with my brother, obviously, especially because he's left-handed, so I spent a lot of time with him. James Krause and Zach Cummings were out for a couple of weeks when they were getting ready for their last fights, and then I've got James here this week as well. So I've worked with him a lot. And then just other than that, the usual crew over at Factory X, got Austin Jones, Josh Cavan, all those guys.
And how's the weight cut going? We're, a week away from the fight, basically, a week and a bit.
Yeah, weight's good, man. I never have too much of an issue. Just I'm pretty strict on my diet, do everything how I'm supposed to do it, and it usually is pretty easy for me.
And heading into this matchup, is there any more pressure just with the fact you have the 2 losses? It's possible you might get cut after this if you suffer a third straight defeat. How do you sort of approach this fight?
Honestly, I feel less pressure than the last 2. I figure at this point, the worst thing that can happen to me has already happened twice. So
right.
Screw it, right?
Yeah. No, that's good, man. That's a good way of looking at it. How do you see the fight sort of playing out on February 18th?
I don't know, man. I mean, obviously it's going to be a lot of trading on the feet, and it's probably just going to be who can do it better, Yeah.
Awesome. And what are you watching right now on Netflix? What's sort of getting you through training camp right now as far as TV and things like that?
Yeah, what did we just finish watching? Just finished watching the new season of Peaky Blinders.
Oh, nice. So, okay.
Yeah, love that show. Did Stranger Things when that came out not too long ago. I haven't found a new one, though, man. So if you got one, throw it out. I need
nothing on the horizon right now. I'm still... Actually, you know what I did watch, or I have been watching, and but it's not on Netflix, is... have you seen Waco? That show with... it's about the bombing that... or the cult that happened in the 90s. Do you remember this? In Waco, Texas. Does this ring a bell at all? It's got Tim Riggins. I don't know if you've ever seen Friday Night Lights, the TV show, but Tim Riggins is like the main guy on the show. It's great so far. I've only watched the one episode, but I really enjoyed it.
What's it on?
I think it's on... is it Paramount Network? I think I can't remember. It's either Paramount or AMC or something. But it's really well done. I thought they've done like a really good job with casting and everything like that. So I don't know. If you look it up, I'm sure you can figure out what networks it's on. But it gets my seal of approval. So there you go.
Is it on cable?
I think so. Yeah.
I refuse to give Comcast money.
There's other ways to watch it. I don't have cable either, but I can't give those out here on the program. But what I can tell people to do is watch UFC Fight Night 126. It's coming up here February 18th. Brian, I always appreciate the time. Just remind people where they can find you on social media, and if you got any sponsors or shout outs, the floor is yours.
Yeah, man. I just want to thank all my coaches and training partners at Factory X. Live Well out in Denver, huge sponsor of mine. And as far as finding me, I'm pretty much the same across everything. Just Brian Camozzi on Twitter, Instagram, on Reddit, all that stuff. So,
what's up, fight fans? If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to see even more interviews with your favorite UFC and Bellator fighters. We've also got coverage at events, including post-fight press conferences and media scrums. And if you like this video, check out the video to my right. It's worth your time.